Level 1. Jack Dawson. Jack Dawson in Titanic transformed DiCaprio from promising actor into global superstar overnight. He embodies a penniless artist winning third-class passage on the doomed liner, a character defined by youthful optimism and infectious zest for life.
I'm the king of the world!
Jack is charm personified, a free spirit whose appeal lies in authenticity rather than wealth. DiCaprio's portrayal relies on natural charisma and emotional accessibility rather than technical complexity. His chemistry with Kate Winslet became the emotional anchor, creating one of cinema's most iconic love stories. He plays Jack with earnest sincerity, never winking at melodrama, committing to emotional truth that allowed audiences to invest completely. Titanic grossed over $2.2 billion worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of its time. The success made DiCaprio one of the planet's most recognized faces, but also created a challenge. He'd spend years choosing increasingly complex roles to prove he was a serious actor, not just a pretty face who got lucky. Jack Dawson represents the foundation, the role giving him commercial leverage to pursue ambitious artistic challenges while showcasing natural screen presence that would remain constant even in darker territory. Level 2. Frank Abagnale Jr. Frank Abagnale Jr. in Catch Me If You Can represents DiCaprio's first major success, combining commercial appeal with genuine technical skill. The teenage con artist successfully impersonates a pilot, doctor, and lawyer while forging millions, a character defined by quick intelligence and deep vulnerability hidden beneath confident facade. Unlike Jack's straightforward sincerity, Frank demanded constant persona shifts. DiCaprio convincingly plays a character always performing, always calculating, while revealing the frightened, abandoned teenager underneath. Every scene balances multiple layers, Frank playing a role while DiCaprio reveals the desperation driving that performance. He studied con artist methodologies, learned specific mannerisms of pilots and doctors, and worked with Spielberg to develop the emotional arc. The film's core lies in Frank's desperate attempts to reunite his broken family, the true motivation behind all criminal activity. The film grossed $352 million worldwide, proving DiCaprio could headline a Spielberg film with both critical acclaim and commercial success. Critics noted his maturation, his willingness to show vulnerability through cocky exterior, and skill in making morally ambiguous characters sympathetic. Frank Abagnale Jr. marked his transition from teen idol to legitimate leading man capable of sophisticated character work. Level 3. Billy Costigan. Billy Costigan in The Departed represents DiCaprio's entry into serious adult dramatic territory. The undercover Massachusetts cop infiltrating Irish mob exists in permanent paranoid tension, unable to trust anyone, slowly losing identity as lines blur dangerously. Unlike Frank's calculated shifts, Costigan's double life creates genuine psychological damage. DiCaprio portrays a man crushed by deception, grip on sanity, weakening with every violent crime witnessed. The performance required constant nervous energy, Costigan always on edge, calculating threats, never relaxing. DiCaprio conveyed this through twitchy physicality and eyes constantly assessing danger. He worked intensively on the working-class Boston accent and understood the psychology of undercover officers. Scorsese directed him to maintain coiled tension throughout. There are almost no scenes where Costigan is truly at peace. The therapy scenes reveal his fracturing psyche, his struggle maintaining identity while pretending to be someone else. The Departed grossed $291 million and won Best Picture, with DiCaprio receiving widespread acclaim. This began his legendary Scorsese collaboration, establishing a relationship producing some of his most acclaimed work. The character's complexity showed DiCaprio was willing to go to uncomfortable psychological places. Billy Costigan demonstrated his ability to sustain psychological intensity across entire films and set the stage for even darker roles. Level 4, Dom Cobb. Dom Cobb in Inception represents DiCaprio at mainstream appeal's height while tackling his most intellectually complex role. The skilled extractor, entering dreams to steal secrets, is haunted by projections of his deceased wife, consumed by guilt over her death. Cobb operates in nested realities where dream and reality have blurred dangerously. Unlike straightforward emotional arcs, Cobb required navigating deliberately ambiguous narrative where certainty is constantly undermined. He must be simultaneously competent professional and emotionally devastated widower, master manipulator, and victim of his own subconscious. DiCaprio worked closely with Nolan to develop Cobb's internal logic and relationship to guilt and memory. The performance required expressing profound grief while maintaining focused intelligence, executing impossibly complex plans. He had to make exposition feel natural rather than merely informative. The relationship with Marion Cotillard's Mal provided emotional anchor. DiCaprio portrayed guilt as corrosive and all-consuming, a presence literally preventing him from moving forward. Inception grossed over $836 million, becoming one of the 2010's most influential films. DiCaprio's performance anchored complex narrative, making philosophical themes accessible to mainstream audiences while demonstrating evolution as an actor, serving both auteur ambitions and commercial demands. Level 5. Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort, in The Wolf of Wall Street, represents DiCaprio at his most uninhibited, a performance of volcanic energy, dark comedy, and complete moral bankruptcy. The stockbroker building a massive empire through fraud lives with such extreme hedonism it becomes grotesque spectacle. Unlike previous characters wrestling with conscience, Belfort operates without meaningful internal conflict. He wants wealth, power, and pleasure, pursuing all three with manic intensity. DiCaprio had to make this deeply unlikable character compelling for 3 hours, finding seductive appeal while never excusing behavior. The role demanded complete physical commitment. He performed extended speeches directly to camera, executed elaborately choreographed drug-fueled chaos, including legendary quaalude-impaired physical comedy, showcasing fearless commitment to looking ridiculous. He gained weight, adopted aggressive physicality and Queen's accent, and maintained exhausting energy. He met the actual Jordan Belfort, studied mannerisms, and worked with Scorsese to develop particular amoral salesmanship. The film's genius lies in implicating the audience. Belfort's lifestyle becomes entertainment, forcing viewers to confront their own fascination with excess. The film grossed $392 million and earned another Oscar nomination. Critics praised his fearless performance, noting willingness to play deeply unsympathetic characters without seeking approval. Jordan Belfort showcased DiCaprio at his most physically and emotionally fearless, willing to be grotesque and hateful in service of story. Level 6. Hugh Glass. Hugh Glass, in The Revenant, represents DiCaprio's most physically punishing role, a performance defined by survival, suffering, and almost complete absence of dialogue. The frontiersman, mauled by a grizzly and left for dead, undertakes an impossible journey through brutal wilderness, driven by revenge. Unlike every previous role relying on dialogue and charisma, Hugh Glass is stripped to pure physical endurance. The performance is almost entirely non-verbal, grunts of pain, labored breathing, eyes conveying determination. DiCaprio had to convey grief, betrayal, and desperate will through physicality alone. The filming conditions were famously brutal. DiCaprio filmed in extreme cold in remote Canadian and Argentinian locations, enduring genuinely harsh conditions, making the performance's physicality authentic. He learned survival techniques, ate raw bison liver on camera, submerged in freezing water repeatedly, and endured months of physically demanding schedules. Iñárritu pushed for naturalistic conditions using only natural light. This meant DiCaprio genuinely experienced cold and exhaustion, feeding the performance's authenticity. The commitment was total, about achieving absolute authenticity, portraying human endurance at its limit. The Revenant grossed $533 million and finally won DiCaprio his first Oscar after 5 nominations, recognition for this performance and his entire career. Critics praised his physical commitment and ability to create fully realized character with minimal dialogue. Hugh Glass demonstrated willingness to suffer for art, stripping away every tool actors typically rely on. Level 7. Rick Dalton. Rick Dalton in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood represents the culmination of DiCaprio's artistic evolution. A performance of profound vulnerability, synthesizing everything learned across 3 decades. The fading television star struggles with obsolescence and anxiety, desperately trying to transition from TV westerns to serious film in changing 1969 Hollywood. Unlike previous characters defined by confidence or prowess, Rick Dalton is defined by insecurity. He's an actor worried about forgetting lines, panicking about relevance, drinking to cope, painfully aware younger actors are replacing him. DiCaprio portrays both Rick Dalton and Dalton performing within film structure, creating layered meta-commentary on acting itself. The performance is built on profound empathy. DiCaprio, himself a major star, portraying someone watching stardom fade. Dalton's trailer breakdown after forgetting lines, viciously berating himself, is one of DiCaprio's most naked emotional moments. It's the specific humiliation and fear of a working actor losing his grip. DiCaprio worked with Tarantino developing Dalton's entire fictional career, the shows, films, and trajectory of success and decline. He studied era actors facing similar challenges, perfected the speech impediment Dalton develops when nervous, and the way demeanor shifts between public confidence and private desperation. The scenes where Dalton performs showcase complete mastery. DiCaprio plays a mediocre TV actor trying to give great performance, which means performing mediocrity convincingly before allowing Dalton to find authentic emotion. It's acting cubed. The film grossed $377 million and earned another Oscar nomination. Critics praised it as one of his finest, noting the courage required to play someone defined by failure rather than strength. Rick Dalton is the culmination of DiCaprio's journey from teen heartthrob to one of the finest actors of his generation, demonstrating complete technical mastery, profound emotional intelligence, and confidence to be vulnerable and unsympathetic.